Timestamps can be found in the description. I promised myself I wouldn't waste a movie this year, so that's why this one's here. Welcome to everybody. Welcome to everybody. Wow. Welcome everybody to another one of the 31 Days of Horror. This is definitely more of a thriller survivor situation. Welcome to Hush's weird, less scary cousin, See For Me. Now, See For Me is a film about a woman, or a college girl who is blind and is cat sitting for the weekend when robbers break in and are attempting to steal a large amount of money from a safe. Have you heard part of this before? It's a handicapped person on their own trying to survive the night. Okay, I think there's been 3 of these, not counting Don't Breathe, which turned this on its head and is actually really solid. I enjoy that film, but this one's kind of just middle of the road, bleh. That's my quick summary of it, but let's do the quick plot summary for it, shall we? A group of thieves break into a luxurious, secluded mansion Sophie is house-sitting. Sophie, a visually impaired former skier, must rely on Kelly, an Army veteran living across the country, to help her fight back. Decent premise. I enjoyed Hush a lot, so I said, hey, an hour 30 of my time, this can't be that bad. And it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that good either. For this film, it's just, I've used this term before, and I think this film fits it much better. With this movie's paced with a vanilla paste with a little bit of extra creativity thrown in. Let's do the deep dive. Let's do the Wiki Deep Dive because they did a wiki for this, which I'm shocked about. But let's jump right in, shall we? Downhill skier Sophie Scott has her Olympic dreams dashed when she's diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa, a degenerative eye disease causing blindness. Although her friend Cam offers to help her train for the Paralympics by working as her seeing guide, she refuses and gives up her skiing dreams. To make money, she cat sits for wealthy homeowners and steals expensive wine from them to resell with the help from Cam. Sophie answers an ad for a cat sitter placed by Deborah, a rich woman in upstate New York, leaving for a vacation after just divorcing her husband. After locking herself outside the house, Sophie uses See For Me, a phone app to allow blind people to connect with a seeing helper via video call. She's connected with Kelly, a gamer in Florida who helps her back inside. Who helps her get back inside. Reading is hard when you haven't had to read a Wikipedia for the past 3 movies. The film starts off, she's a teetotal asshole to her mother, they use this a lot in movies where a disabled person really wants to do everything by themselves, and 100% I agree with that, and they should. But they need help, and they're not gonna admit to it because especially someone who's been in the state of not needing aid, now needing aid makes her feel lesser than, so she's trying to always prove to herself that she can do things on her own. She tries to sneak out of the house to go to this gig. Her mom sees her, and she saw a huge deposit in her bank account. And she's like, your last one was a third of this. What's going on? She says this woman's rich, and she needs a cat sitter for the weekend. So I agreed to it. She paid for the taxi to pick me up, and I'm leaving now. Her mom mentions this app, See For Me, saying it could probably help on a lot of these house-sitting duties, and kind of hints at the fact that she should continue her dream of skiing and not just become a house-sitter forever. With that, she goes into the house and almost stands directly in the doorway, not letting the woman show her any of the house, or like where the bathroom is, where the pantry is, where the cat food is held. She's just like, I'll find it. And it's like, okay, the code for the thing is this number. I'll see you eventually. Bye, kitty. I miss you. Bye, kitty. And finally leaves. When she leaves, she puts a beeper on the cat, almost like a pager that she can ping with her phone, so she'll know where the cat is at all times. whenever she activates her app. Her app is completely voice activated, so it's like call person, open app, download app, so on and so forth. She tries to find the wine cellar first by calling her friend Cam. She finds a rare bottle that's worth about $4,500. Asks Cam to look it up. Cam says, I'm not helping you. If you leave with that bottle this time, we're done. You only call me whenever you need me to help you steal thousands of dollars worth of wine. Just because you're blind, they let you get away with it. She hangs up on him, moves along. The beginning part of this film, she's just kind of an asshole. She kind of doesn't really change until the very end, which is like development, I guess, of some way, shape, or form. After that, she gets a phone call from the homeowner asking her if she's locked up the house and fed the cat. She says, I was just feeding the cat, and I was just about to lock the house up. She's like, okay, how about we do it together? Just kind of proving that she's locked the house up. She activates the alarm system in the house, the lock of the house, whatever, and goes outside for a smoke, locks herself outside. Gets C for Me downloaded because she's admitting that she needs help because she can't find her way outside because outside is extremely dangerous for blind people, especially when she left her cane inside. She gets connected to the first See For Me person, and it's very like, oh, poor baby, oh, you baby, should I call the police? And she hangs up on that person immediately and tries to find another moderator for this app. Ends up connecting to Kelly, a gamer in Florida, who talks to her like she's a normal human being, not a puppy she found on the side of the road. She helps her get back in by trying to find a screen door in the house or a sliding door, and pretty much gets her to rock it off the tracks, which kind of proves to Sophie that this girl will help her and treat her normal. And that besides that, yeah, the brief summary first paragraph's right. Let's go to the next one. That night, Sophie is awoken by 3 men breaking into the house. She calls 911 and reports the break-in, but the 911 operator tells her it'll be a long response time due to the house's remote location. She hangs up and uses her See For Me app to contact Kelly again, but is caught by the men, who disconnect the phone video call. Kelly, desperate to help Sophia, contacts the police to have them counter-reference 911 calls and attempt to locate the house that Sophie is in. Sophie learns that the men have broken into the house to steal $7 million hidden in a safe in a wall. After checking Sophia's phone and seeing that she called 911, the men contemplate giving up the score and killing her. They call their boss Rico, who tells them that to let Sophie live, as she has not seen anyone. Rico also instructs them to pack up their gear and come back later. Sophie convinces them to give her a share of the take in exchange for sending the police away. Sophie calls 911 a second time to cancel her initial report, but is told that the police have to respond even if a false alarm is reported. This is a little out of order, to be honest, because they break into the house, and it's very, unfortunately, it's very luck based. Like, she drops something, crouches down behind a couch, and it almost comes off as a comedy, and you don't want that when you're trying to build this thriller sense. Like, it's a lot of things like that of her just leaving a room with her flashlight on and cuts away, and cuts to the guy walking past that area, not missing her by an inch. I don't know, like, I can see that could build some sort of suspense, but it doesn't really do it here when you know that this woman is kind of helpless in this situation, which is, like, it's ableist, quote unquote, to think that way, so whatever. After she calls Kelly for the See For Me app, saying, I think 3 people, I hear at least 2 voices here, she's using the camera to point that away as she's walking everywhere, and the actress moves it very fast. If I was on the other end of that video call, I would be motion sick to hell and back. Anyways, after she's found, which is not really a letdown, but kind of just like a deflating moment immediately of like she's immediately caught, she has no morals here, and she says, while they're getting ready to leave, she almost stops them and tells them, no, I can get the police to go away. It's fine. I just want a percentage of this money. They agree to 5%, and she says sure as she calls 911 back, and they tell her no matter what, we have to send people out. The Kelly thing is about that time where she gets hung up on, and Kelly's trying to figure out, like, call 911, telling her that to counter reference the entire area, she was in this known she doesn't have the address, but she does let her know, like, it's no upper state New York. There's lots of area up there. Real estate, the only place large houses like this could be. Besides that, that's about right. The only other thing that I kind of left out was in the beginning of the film, while she's going to the wine cellar, her phone kind of cuts off and there's poor connectivity there, and her phone shouts out there's poor connectivity there. When the deputy arrives to investigate, Sophie lies and says there was no emergency. As the deputy is about to leave, Kelly's alert is radioed out, and Sophie's lie is revealed. Kelly's alert, quote unquote, is Kelly let them know that she saw two people there, two white men there. So now someone's actually seen them and know their faces. So therefore, the blind girl is now on the hook for being able to see people due to a phone call, which is strange, but I mean, makes sense for the plot. The deputy calls for backup and attempts to arrest the intruders, but is killed by one of the men. Sophie escapes with the deputy's gun and calls Kelly for help. Kelly helps her shoot two of the men, while the third man finishes breaking into the safe. Kelly guides Sophie to the final robber, who opens the safe to take the money. Before Sophie can shoot him, her phone dies and her call with Kelly ends. Although the thief tells Sophie that he is about to leave, she shoots him when he reaches for the dead police officer's taser. She waits for the police to arrive, but is surprised by the appearance of Rico. Rico reveals that he is Deborah's ex-husband, and he hired all three of the robbers to break into the safe to steal his money back from his wife. He tells her that Deborah did not know the safe or the money was in the house, and tries to convince her to let him take the money. Sophie refuses and cuts off the lights in the house, baiting Rico to pursue her. After running out of ammunition in her gun, she is caught by Rico and almost dies as he strangles her, but gains the upper hand and bludgeons him to death. We're going to go ahead and knock at the final bit, and then I'll dissect both of these two paragraphs, because the second one's very small, very short. After recovering in the hospital, Sophie tells her mom that she's decided to try out for the Paralympics and plans to ski again. Her mom tells her that they will need money to buy all new gear, and Sophie clutches her backpack and smiles, implying that she took some of the money with her from the house. Shortly after, Sophie video calls Kelly to give her an update on the skiing progress, while Cam acts as Sophie's guide. Let's talk about the meat of this, the kills and surviving of the kills. We'll start with the police officer getting in there first. When she first arrives, she has to take a look around the house. Sophie is being immediately dismissive. Like, why do you need to check the house? I have to check the house. It's protocol, so on and so forth. She walks around the house, doesn't really notice anything until she sees that there is a panel loose at the bottom of this sidewall, which we know the safe is behind. Sophie tells the police officer that she'll let the homeowner know. The police officer is about to bid her farewell and kind of like begins whispering under her breath, like, "Are you sure no one could possibly be here? You can tell me they can't hear me. I can get you out of here safely." She said, "No, it's fine," because she thinks she has, if $7 million and 5% of it's up for grabs, like, it's about almost $1 million. Not really. That's not even close, really. She'd have about $350,000 to her name if that woman leaves. As she begins to make her way out, her phone goes off behind her, which one of the intruders has. The police officer says, "Don't worry, I'll go get that for you." As she picks it up, hands it to her. Turns out it was, what's his name? Cam. Cam called. She says, "Not right now." Hangs up on him. Once again, being very dismissive. Police officer says, "Well, I guess I'll be on my way," when she gets the radio call in. And as soon as she gets the radio call that there are three white males in the house, she walks in with gun drawn as one of the three men, the skinnier type. There's skinny one guy with beard and fat tech guy. I say fat, a larger tech guy, doesn't matter. One of them immediately surrenders, puts his arms behind his back as she handcuffs him. As she begins to take this one to the car, the rough and tumble one with the beard comes out, knocks her down. She fights for her life, which is a really intense scene. They actually do really well with this police officer trying to 2v1 pretty much. She loses the fight, gets choked out. She's sorry, not choked out, choked to death. Very different. Very different. Sophie ends up recalling Kelly. So she's having to walk around with like gun in tow, pretty much playing a first person shooter, walking around, and she's having to give her like directions with this like hardcore Henry style whatever, and it's really awkward. She shoots one in like the greenhouse. She makes her way to the wine cellar for another one where it starts to kind of cut out because there's bad service, as it's foreshadowed previously. Puts herself in a situation where there's one entryway where she can just kind of stand and shoot if she needs. Somebody makes the mistake of walking in towards her, she shoots him dead. The final guy seems to like want to leave on his own. The power runs out on Sophie's phone as she's has the gun pointed at him. So he's like trying to move really slow and gather money in that as quietly as he can. And it's real awkward. Eventually, he reaches for the taser and gets shot when he was already on his knees. The Rico reveals find the actor that plays Rico, Kim Coates, which is Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy is the one I would know him from mostly. Most people would. It's just kind of mid. Just kind of mid all the way through. It's mostly just due to the awkwardness of it. Hush does it really well because you can use the person's disability to put the viewer in that situation, but you can't really do it with a blind person for a movie. It's kind of hard to do since it is a visual media. It's just clunky. Like, they do a lot of clever things with the phone, but it's just kind of clunky and kind of just basic. I haven't written out the score for it yet. One moment. All right, after thinking about it, this is what I got for you. The plot itself was done fine. It's a great premise. It's only been done a couple of times now, but it's starting to become a trend. But you only have a certain amount of disabilities you can make movies out of. And if I wasn't comparing it so much to Hush, it would have probably been better. But this movie is about 3 years too late because Hush was fantastic, and this is just not that. It's clunky. You start off with a character that you don't care for, and eventually they have to become that, and it can only go so far. It's the down to your left, down to your right, down to your left, split the difference. It's weird, and it's not in a good weird. By the way, if this series has taught us anything, we don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes anymore. Rotten Tomatoes gave this film an 80% when you can look at IMDb that puts it at 5.8. Vudu has it as a 4 out of 5, and I don't see any of that. It's just okay. And if it wasn't just okay, then it's just bleh. It's just bleh. For the plot's fine. You could have made the character a little bit more likable. I understand she wants to do everything on her own, but she doesn't have to remind everybody that with like really snarky remarks. Plot can have like a 6. That's fine. That's going to be the higher points of this. The scares, there's not really a lot of scares. Once again, it comes off as more of a thriller, which I think it's supposed to, but I was trying to venture out and leave no movie unrated this month because I need all of them I can get. So scares can have like a 2. There might be a jump scare where she gets grabbed that gets you at some point. The looming threat's fine. Like, you know she's blind and you're seeing people kind of walking behind her or moving really slowly near her, even with guns trained on them. Its threat can be a 5 as well. Like I said, it's just kind of okay. Is this film for newbies? Sure. Like, it's fine. It's not scary. So go nuts. Do I recommend this movie? No. Watch Hush instead. And I hate that I have to compare the two, but it's literally Hush had the ability to put a psychopath outside your window and you wouldn't know they were there because they have to make a noise. This one is your main protagonist's plan blows up in their face due to somebody else's actions, and she now has to survive the night. Like, So no, I don't recommend it. The overall score for C for me, I have it at a 4.5. I enjoyed it better than Hellbender, and I enjoyed it better than Censor, but it's just kind of blank. Like, it's paste. Like I've said this before, it's vanilla pudding. That's all. Like, how you could have fixed this film is A, give us a character we care about. B, make it so she's outsmarting them at any point. But instead it comes off a lot like luck and overdependency on other people. You don't get your creative problem solved, survive the night final girl. You get someone who kind of comes off as lucky that begins to fight their way out when she's completely left alone. The only outsmarting she does is turning off. I realize I'm telling this part somewhere else, so I'll jump it to plot. The only kind of outsmarting she does, is turning off the lights. And that puts her kind of on even terms. She throws like a glass, it shatters behind him, he turns around, she tries to shoot him, she misses, and then they fight to the death and she beats him to death eventually. That's it. That's all I have for you guys today. It's fine. We're hitting a lot of middle of the roads this year. We're only 13 days into November, and I have some big ones ready for you guys. I've got a crew getting ready to watch a few. I hope you guys tune in to watch them all and tell me how badly I messed up. And don't forget, sometime during the first week of November, we'll have a full list and we will rank them all. So I hope you all have a great day. Take care. Stay scared. See ya. Bye.